Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
What's up, Americans? Kevin Jackson, here's the Kevin Jackson Show. Let me tell you, did I predict it? Have I told you what you need to know about what's about to happen in this country? I got a note from Carl. Carl is the person who wrote to me saying, Kevin, it doesn't matter why you're talking about this FBI stuff. No heads are going to roll. It's going to be more of the same. And I put a challenge out to Carl. I said, Carl, if things change, I want you to write me back, bro. I want you to let me know what you're thinking. And Carl sent me a note saying, you got it, man. You got it. And I also believe he has a little less resolve in his original position because a couple of days have gone by, or 3 or 4 days since Carl wrote to me, and he's now beginning to see that things are starting to happen. Welcome, kjradio.com. Glad you guys are with me. The Kevin Jackson Show. So what all's happening? Mayors ditched out on a meeting with Donald Trump. You want to know why? Because he said, you know what I'm going to do, mayors? I'm going to follow the law. All you sanctuary putzes, you people that believe you can thwart constitutional law and not protect your citizens and protect illegals over your citizens, I'm going to make you eat your words. And you know what he's doing indirectly? He's changing the demographics of cities. Because people are tired of this. Leftists are tired of this. If they knew where their tax dollars were going, they would revolt. But the Democrats hide these things from them. They make them believe that, no, it's utopia for all of us. As more and more people crowd into subways, get hustled into ghettos and barrios and slums of whatever sort. As more, the money it takes to survive in a city, the cost of a traffic ticket, the cost to park, the cost for goods and services continue to increase. Why? Because these leftists don't care. They will give your money away because it's not their money. They will protect others before they protect you. Go to the hospital, see how long it takes you to get waited on. Go to the DMV, see how many illegals are waiting in line to get licenses. Why? Because they want to vote. Because the Democrats have told them it's okay. I'll play a clip of Obama saying exactly that. You watch as Donald Trump starts saying to these mayors, I don't give a crap what you think. I don't govern in America based on your wet dream that you decide you want something for your citizens that they don't want, that goes against common sense. It's not going to happen. So Donald Trump is taking a stance. Something that governors are afraid to do. Governors are afraid to mess with the big cities in their states because they want to get reelected. So you know what? Donald Trump says, I'll be your boogeyman. And let me tell you what's going to happen. Many of the people who believe their votes don't count in these cities are going to start flipping over. I made a prediction. I said Donald Trump is going to get a minimum of a quarter of the black vote in 2020. He's going to get 20% of that black vote voting for Republican candidates in 2018. It is the doom of the Democrats. That is why they wanted to cheat on DACA. That is why they want DACA. They want not only these kids, they want the kids' families. They want chain migration because they realize the clock is ticking. Tick-tock, tick-tock, Democrats, tick-tock. So they've got nothing. I want you to ask yourself, what do they have? Do they have Russian collusion? If you think that, you've obviously not been paying attention over the last 2 to 3 weeks, because let me tell you something. That dog died. It doesn't hunt. It died. So go ahead. Ditch your meetings with Donald Trump. Mayors, pretend that you don't want to address the very issues that he's addressing. Pretend that nobody cares about this stuff. Pretend that nobody cares about illegal immigration. Because the polls say very different. 60-70% say they want this addressed, and they want it addressed through the legal system. You think you can pretend your way out of it? Go ahead, ostriches. Keep your heads in the sand. Lots to talk about. Oh, my goodness. Chelsea Clinton's in the news. We were going to cover this the other day. We didn't. It's tough for me to get off this new revelation about the FBI. It's very tough because it requires us to be so silly, to be so stupid, it makes me understand just how little the Democrats think about us. I'm not saying conservatives per se, but they include us too. But certainly their own voting population. And it's going to backfire, because here's the thing. You can only talk down to people so long. Eventually they find out they're better than you at something, and then they want to get back at you. And you want to know what the dummies on the left are better at than their politicians? They're good at voting. And I was talking to some of my friends. I was on a radio show. We were having a chat. And I said to them, it's one thing to flip over. To say, you know what? I'm not going to be a Democrat anymore. I'm going to be a Republican. And I said to people, I go, that's a very dangerous person for anybody. If you're a Republican and you flipped over to a Democrat, which doesn't happen very often, probably, the number of Republicans that flip to Democrat is pretty small. But in the last decade, the number of Democrats that flip to Republican is a huge number. I want you to think about the number of people who bet that Barack Obama was going to change things for the positive for them. How much they put into that. They were, wishy-washy, middle of the road, and said, you know what, God, I'm going to give this guy a chance. And they did it. And now they're like, he was the worst. They finally made the decision to go hardcore left, and they did it. They veered left like crazy. Next thing you know, they're disappointed. Those people come back to the other side with a vengeance. They are super mad. And so I've asked the question, why is it that the people that make the transition get all the press? Because people ask me all the time, Kevin, were you ever a Democrat? I bet it was bad when you were a Democrat. No, I never was. I didn't have to have the passion for what I have because I didn't need to come from that side. But let me tell you what happens when you do. You become a Sheriff Clark. Do you know a Democrat who's made the transition? I know a bunch of them. One of the guys works for me. His name is Chris Harris. Chris was a Democrat, dyed in the wool, figured it out, and he is one of the most staunch conservatives you will ever meet. He doesn't think anything close to Democrat anymore. That's what's being created right now. That's the danger the Democrats face. We got tons to talk about today, folks. I'm excited to be here with you. Hope you'll hang in there again for the rest of the program. It's the Kevin Jackson Show. Be back in just a bit. Keep it in.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177. Or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.
Beth Cook Moranville, author of Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope.
Hope, that wonderful, wonderful four-letter word that you may feel completely out of. I wrote this book to give you great hope. It's not too late. If fetal position is an all too familiar place for you, I understand. If the next 60 seconds are too long, this book is for you. Wherever you are right now, whether you're dealing with divorce or death or sickness, take hope. You are going to make it through this pain. Don't roll your eyes. I've walked this road and I know it. The best is yet to come.
Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope from author and speaker Beth Cook Moranville. Can be found on Amazon.com or Kindle.com. For more information, visit closerthanyourBreath.com or on Facebook at Closer Than Your Breath.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. Mad Maxine, as in Mad Maxine Waters. Do I have to tell you who that is? She has decided that she will not attend President Trump's State of the Union address coming up soon. I don't blame her. I really don't. Because Maxine's going to have to answer for what she has not gotten to the black community. She and other members of the Congressional Black Circus, all those clowns, are going to have to sit up there and go, we are participating in a lot of this good stuff that's happening around the country. Now, Donald Trump's raising the ocean for everybody, but it's not because of Mad Max and her crew. No, they're doing everything they can to make sure that blacks stay very much victims. Glad you guys are here. kjradio.com is where you can find us on demand anytime you want. 844-551-8255. The left depend on poverty. They depend on angst. They depend on you being mad about something that life is not going your way. They need to have that, because if they don't have that, they're lost. They must get people upset, because that's how they feed their families. And if you get in the way of that, which Donald Trump is, oh man, has anybody gotten in the way of that? This brother's bringing prosperity to everybody. He's like, you got purple crooked kids from Guatemala? Are they midgets? Good. Let them feast. And the left can't handle it. They hate it. Maxine Waters. What is the left going to do when they figure out we don't care about them? We don't care what they do. Do you care, honestly? Do you care, and do you know anybody who cares that Maxine Waters is not going to attend the State of the Union address? Do you know? I'm being honest here. I want to know, do you care, first of all? The audience of Kevin Jackson, including you leftists that audit the show, that listen to the program, do you really care? Do you believe, I'm talking to conservatives now, do you believe on the left that there are a group of people that go, yeah, I really care that Maxine Waters isn't going to make it. It's going to do a lot for my life. What's the symbolism? Nothing. There's going to be a handful of blacks that go, yeah, you go, Maxine. You show that man. You show that Donald Trump, who's got the stock market over 25,000, who's got black people at the lowest unemployment in history, and on and on. You show them. Yeah, that'll teach them. They don't care. Hollywood. I hate to break it to you. I didn't watch the Golden Globes. I didn't watch Robert De Niro's stupid rant on the president. I didn't watch the hypocrisy of every woman that stepped up there talking about Me Too while they jacked up their butts on the casting couch and didn't even know who was behind them. Who's watching it? And for the record, who cares? Oh, there's people out there, they care about what these people think. If you're making your decision because of what Bradley Cooper thinks, or Meryl Streep, or Susan Sarandon, you're an idiot. Go for it. Because I don't. I see, I don't know how many times I've seen Samuel L. Jackson hawking Capital One cards. I don't have one. It doesn't even make me want to get one. I watched Stephen Curry try to sell Infinity Q50s, which I have one already, and I promise you, if I hadn't bought it, and I bought it later, it wouldn't have been because of him. I don't know what that clown got paid, but he didn't influence me. And I'll be honest, I don't think most of these people are influenced by this stuff. Hollywood believes, yeah, okay, so there's a bunch of kids that like Stephen Curry and the way he plays basketball. Great. Either your car is a car I want or it isn't. I saw the new Lincoln. And they got those special seats and stuff and new grill on the front. That car looks really good. You don't have to put anybody's face on it. I saw the car and went, that's a nice car. I saw the features. We call it in sales the features and benefits. I saw the features and benefits of that car. And my curiosity was, I wonder what that Lincoln cost. Beautiful car. But you put Stephen Curry in it, I don't even want to buy it. I'm just telling you right now. I don't even want it. I see him as anti-Trump, anti-America, who wants it. By the way, have we even talked about in the year 2018 Colin Kaepernick? Happy New Year, everybody. Have we talked about him? And it isn't because the NFL isn't coming to, the NFL is in the middle of its big deal. I don't know who's going to win the Super Bowl. Maybe it's, who knows? Has it been played? I don't even watch football. But here's what I will tell you. I don't care. Kaepernick's not. How much is Kaepernick going to play in politics in 2018? Anybody want to take a guess? No, because you don't care. You don't care. He's done. If he never plays another down of football, nobody will care. If Jennifer Lawrence doesn't make another film, I don't care. If Kathy Griffin doesn't have another comedy show, I won't miss her. If Robert De Niro moves to Greece and we never hear his name again, you know what? I'll watch his old films because I liked him back then. But I don't watch anything new from De Niro. He doesn't draw me to a movie any longer. Guess what, Robert De Niro? I don't care. LeBron James playing basketball. I ain't watched that fool play one dribble of a basketball. I haven't seen him dribble a basketball in years. Unless it's just passing in an airport or something. I don't give a crap about LeBron James. What crap hole does he live in, by the way? I don't care. Neither do you. We've learned to not care because we're smart. And I tell you guys, if somebody's got this beautiful voice, Ariana Grande, why do I care about her politics? If somebody can act, congratulations. Why do I care about your politics? Why do we glamorize and glorify these people? Maxine Waters is a congressman, a failed congressman, not even a good one. Why do I care what she thinks? Show me rock stars. I want to see people doing stuff. Dakota saved people in Iraq. I want to see him. I met him, by the way. That's a dude. And by the way, he goes, Kevin, I don't understand all the hoopla. He got a Medal of Honor. I don't get it, man. I did what I was supposed to do. Why would I get a medal for that? That's who I care about. That's who I think about. We met in D.C. at an event, had a great time. He won't answer his doggone phone after giving me his number, but that's okay. That's how white boys do you. But I still think about him. I think did he marry Crystal? Palin Bristol. Did he marry her? I think he did. They got back together. He wouldn't elaborate on some stuff. But here's my point. Dude is saving lives. We're making a film, Bleeding Blue, coming out March the 30th. I'm telling you, you're going to want to see this film. There are people in that movie, friends for life. I'm in the film. Yeah. What can I say? It's what happens when you make it. But those are the people you care about. I don't give a crap about these people. Maxine Waters. Donald Trump is a racist and an indecent man with no good values who is woefully unfit and undeserving of the office in which he serves. That's what she said in a comment. A deeply flawed human being with no understanding of public policy. He referred to countries as Haiti as crap holes, she used it. Underscores everything we already know about him. He is a hopeless and ignorant bigot who's making a lot of people a lot of money, including black folks, and they're going to be mad at you when they figure you out, Maxine, that you're doing nothing for them. Can't wait.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
What's up, everybody? Kevin Jackson here. I'm going to teach you something new today. And I'm going to tell you, this applies to me. Before you even get started, I want you to understand I'm going to change my way of thinking because I've learned something new. I learned something about myself, and I want to share it with you. See, leftists demoralize people, but they do it for their own good. They do this to people for their own good. It is their profession. Leftists are professional demoralizers. They teach groups oppression. And as long as you are not a white male, understand this, you are oppressed. But some groups are oppressed more than others. So take, for example, black males. We are oppressed. So what? Black males are responsible for almost 50% of the violent crime in America. There's a reasonable explanation. I mean, just hold on a second before you go jump into conclusions. You're thinking, oh, look at that. Kevin's explaining that the black male commits, less than 6% of the population commits over 50% of the crime. Yeah, but think about it. No fathers in the home for the most part. How can one not be oppressed when raised by a single parent and probably a single mom? Next, black men have no jobs. Why bother to have a job when there are no jobs that offer a livable wage? See, that's another thing that the left tries to get the poor black man, the livable wage. And the only recourse for such a man, well, a man like myself, is to sell drugs or take what he needs to survive from his oppressors. By not taking care of all my little childrens, all 14 of them by 12 different women, I save society from more harm. Think about the logic here. Black men selfishly limiting their crime sprees to save society. What would happen if I wanted to take care of all 14 of my kids the way you do, white people? Huh? I'd have to beat all of you to death. So there you go. Just giving you the leftist point of view in this whole thing. But why do I need to explain the black crime issue? All I really need to tell you is that most black men live in Democrat-run, ergo, Democrat-controlled cities. So you're saying, Kevin, you're picking a lot on black men. Yeah, no, there are people that are far worse off than black men. Let me give you an example. They are black women. Yeah, I didn't think you were going to get there, but yeah, consider the plight of the black woman, a product of the women's movement. Well, I like to call it the white women's movement because white women started this mess and then they moved on. They married. They moved to the suburbs. They capitulated. They hung on the coattails of their white husbands and ran for Senate, got their butts kicked in running for president, but they still power through. They managed to just keep on moving on. So guess what? There's a professor out there who's got a radical idea to fix the inequities of the black situation, okay? So this is from the College Fix. These guys talk a lot about what happens on college campuses across the country, and they found a black law professor. And this woman argues that African Americans should embrace the notion that being black in America is a disability as a new legal strategy towards enacting protections for the black community, get this, against unconscious bias, stereotyping, and structural inequality. See, you white folks out there listening to the Kevin Jackson Show, you think you're giving back because you listen to a black man show. No. You're not getting off that easy. No, sir, sister. No, so, broheim. Not so. Not going to happen. Because you have an unconscious bias. You stereotype. You have implemented a system of structural inequality that has me, Kevin Jackson, the man who should be in prison, right now talking to you on the radio and living the good life. Living la vida loca. Living the white dream. Kimani Paul Emile, an associate professor of law at Fordham University, an associate director of its law school's Center on Race, Law, and Justice, argues that while African Americans might initially spurn the, quote, blackness is disability label, it can actually be a wise courtroom plan. I want you to know I'm about to sue all you people listening to this radio show right now. You're going to get summoned from my lawyer. It's on its way. Unless, of course, you donate $10 to the Kevin Jackson Show right now. Paul Emile argues that being disabled does not have the same negative connotation as it did in the past. Yet she's rationalizing why, Kevin Jackson, do not fight the feeling, my brother. You should go ahead and accept that you are disabled. Yeah. She says, what's more, disability law does not force plaintiffs to show you that the harm they've suffered was intentional. That, quote, discriminatory effect is almost always enough. I'm about to get my reparations up in here. Look, you can do this the easy way or you can do it the hard way. I'm going to give you the choice. You are just hearing about this now. Be an early adopter and you could maybe save yourself from having the the embarrassment. Is that what are you looking at me? My producers want to know, do they have to pay? We'll get to that in a little bit. So you can save yourself the embarrassment of having Kevin Jackson come after you. I don't want to have to do it. I prefer not to because we've been friends for a long time. How long have you been listening to the show? I'm asking each of you individually. Think about how long you've been listening to the show. How long have you been taking advantage of the disabled? I'm just saying. Yeah, no malicious intent. Rather than focusing on malicious intent, disability law accepts the impact of even neutral actions, policies, and programs, directly confronting the ways in which social structures, institutions, and norms can substantially limit a person's ability to perform a major life activity. I mean, it's all here in black and white. This is the real deal right now. Next time y'all hear me on the radio, which will be tomorrow. No, it won't. It'll be next week. But here's the deal. Next time you hear me, I'm going to be a rich man. Yeah. It says, it thus requires that even discrimination based on unacknowledged bias be addressed. That's what she wrote in her article. Georgetown Law Review. This came from the Fordham Law News. Now, here's what I'm trying to say to you people. This lady teaches law. And this is the type of law that's going to appear on the books if you're willing to accept it. Let's just call this mission possible. If you're willing to let this happen, you white folks, your kids, your grandkids, your great-grandkids are going to get sued because they don't understand the subconscious or unconscious bias that they are putting out to black folks. That's what's going to happen. Now, I'm going to just tell you, after reading that, you have to imagine that I feel somewhat empowered. I suffer a disability by birth. Now, this to me is an interesting spin on the whole concept of white privilege, except in reverse. So how about this? How about we call it, instead of calling this, what you guys have is white privilege, but she's not calling it that because that's circa 2015, 2016. That's still got Obama's fingerprints on it. She wants something fresh and new. So let's call it black underprivilege, okay? Therefore, maybe it even makes you guys feel better as white folks because now you can say, oh, yeah, well, the thing is I don't suffer from black underprivilege. Doesn't that sound better if you're a white person? But I can, as a black person, I suffer from black underprivilege. Yeah, so we put the onus on me to own it. Now, this begs the question, is there anything that black people do well? I'm just curious. Because though learning of my new disability is supposed to be uplifting, I'm feeling rather low. And I can't rationalize that feeling of low self-esteem and feeling a bit, kind of under the weather. Psychologically, my biorhythm feels low. But she's telling me, no, Kevin, when you go to court and you start getting the money, you're going to feel better. Yeah, well, I was thinking about it. I hearken back to the days of, let's say, Jesse Owens, when he demonstrated black underprivilege to Adolf Hitler. Now, I wasn't alive during that era, but I'm kind of glad Jesse Owens won because the ideas around white privilege, black underprivilege, and black disability, I now know that Jesse Owens didn't necessarily win on behalf of blacks. He just won because. Yeah. And here's the thing. As I start contemplating Jesse Owens and his beating of Hitler and the Aryan army, I got to tell you, I'm starting to get a little bit of resentment for people like Jack Johnson, the first black heavyweight boxing champion, for cutting into my black disability. And what about Wyoming Attias and Arthur Ashe and these other black notables? These trailblazers potentially could have ruined it for me today. Booker T. Washington teaching black people not to depend on anybody but themselves. Pull yourself up by the bootstraps. Come on, Booker T. You didn't even tell me in order to pull myself up by the bootstraps, I got to get myself out of the boots. You ever tried to do that? You cannot do it. Yeah, how sad. How sad. I look back on Dr. Martin Luther King and all his talk about content over character, over the color of one's skin. And we honor this man annually? What kind of nonsense is that? Thankfully, though, we got professors that teach us black people that we're nobodies. To be born black is the worst kind of fate. I can only imagine black parents in maternity wards across the country hoping their children don't get the dreaded disease of blackness. Where are those recessive genes when you need them, huh?
Kevin Jackson on the Black Sphere Radio Network.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177. Or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.
What's up, everybody? Kevin Jackson here. How's this for equality? Women can't compete with men academically. I didn't say it. It's somebody else that said this. And you know what else? It's from Wackadamia. Oh, no, this is not some men's think tank. This isn't a male society of totalitarian men speaking here. No, this is Oxford. As in England. Oxford. They're saying this. How's that for equality? In an effort to raise test scores, Oxford University give women 15 minutes extra to complete their exams. Huh? Say what? It's the Kevin Jackson Show, kjradio.com. You can get us on demand anytime, 24/7. You can hear this misogynistic talk about women not being able to compete with men academically. Now, we know women cannot compete with men in some of these physical activities, like hammer throwing. And I don't know, the javelin and a bunch of other stuff, lifting weights and all that. I know there's some strong women in the world, but the strongest man is still stronger than the strongest woman. And now we find out our brains are even better. How's that? I'm not saying this. Don't get mad at me. I don't want your emails. Send them to Oxford. According to officials at Oxford, allowing women more time on math and science is, quote, academically demanding and fair. Oxford implemented this new process, and here's the numbers. 39% of women earn what are known as first-class degrees in math, while 47% of men do. That's right, 8% more of men do that, and I did that math faster than any woman that was listening to the program. You want to know why I know? Because Oxford said it. Not me. This isn't Kevin Jackson. Don't send your mail to me. Send it to Oxford. Now, here's what's interesting. It's apparently a geography thing. In 2014, the Huffington Post examined the new gender gap in education. And according to current statistics, women are enrolling in and completing college at a higher rate than men these days. Beginning in 1991, more women aged 25 to 29 had obtained a bachelor's degree or higher than men did of the same age. The gap in college completion has widened in recent years because at the rate of men who are earning degrees has flatlined, while the rate of women earning degrees has continued to increase. There you go, Section 9 or whatever they call it. Since 1969, the rate of women ages 25 to 29 earning degrees has risen some 20%, while men in the same earning degree program, it's barely increased. So now 35% of all women have at least a bachelor's degree compared to only 25% of men. See? They're dumbing down men. They're emasculating them. They're infantilizing them. They're making them little boys. And then the girls have surpassed them. And now they're going to have a nation of Amazons here in America, but not in England. Where am I going? I'm moving to England, of course. Women now represent 3/5 of graduate students. That's 60% for you women out there listening. 60% of the graduate students are you. Now, my question is this. Are British women just more stupid than their American counterparts? This did not emphasize STEM classes. We're not talking math here. I suspect men in math are still smarter than women, even in the United States. But I don't know. I don't have the statistics. Now, it's not for me to keep up with. But if I did, I'd be smarter at getting to them than the women that are listening to the program. Not conservative women. I'm talking about these leftist women that audit my show, that go back and report to others on the left. Because you conservative women, you are smart. Stateside, Barack Obama launched an initiative. It was called My Brother's Keeper. Yeah, that project that took aim at the problem I just described, where men are now falling off. They wanted to encourage more young Black and Hispanic men to enroll in and complete college. Now, while we should celebrate that more women attend college and obtain degrees than ever before, we should be concerned that men are being left behind here in America. And not much is being done about it. This trend has dire economic and social consequences. Men who don't graduate from college earn less money than men who do. Now, before we get into all these different statistics about this, you have to understand my take on it. I'm not that big a fan of college. I believe that men can learn how to weld, they can learn woodworking and things like this and make themselves an amazing living. Average welder today makes over $100,000, 6 figures. Many people I know in these professional degrees don't make 6 figures. Now we got social justice warriors and things like this. This, to me, is why we have these skewed statistics. This idea that, the man over in America is getting more and more stupid and graduating with fewer degrees. What it is men say, I'm not going to school to get a social justice warrioring degree. I'll either go to school to do something I want to do or I'm not going to do it. But anyway, my brother's keeper, it's been a failure. It's like all of the things Barack Obama does. Failure. So here's my question. I'm back to this. Is it a geographical issue? How do we know? There's all kinds of things influencing the study, but here's what I can tell you. These studies all contradict each other, but one thing that does remain consistent is leftism. Because on the one hand, we've got Oxford claiming that women need more time to compete with men. On the other hand, we have Obama spending big bucks to make sure that men can compete with women. And then there's this Harvard study that reported men and women perform equally well on high-pressure time tests in math. Further, women far outperform men in low-pressure timed verbal exams. So it's about differences, right? Now, some Oxford officials claim that they'd rather see a demonstration of true mathematical understanding instead of this race to the answer. And if that's the case, remove the time constraints. But the same officials are also quick to point out that women are more likely to check their answers than men. So, did they even bother to ask men in this study, did you check your answers? Because if you checked your answers, it slows down all the test takers. So maybe the women aren't technically as slow, maybe they're just more deliberate. Certainly makes sense to me. Notwithstanding, is it possible to admit, just admit this, that men and women are actually different biologically? I mean, we do have different sexual parts. Here's another example. Boys tend to be more active than girls. It's just true. On the flip side, that makes them more restless when boys have to sit for long periods of time. Brains develop differently in boys versus girls. Scientific stuff, man. This isn't Kevin Jackson making it up. Male brains, they say, this is from Psychology Today, utilize nearly 7 times more gray matter for activity, while female brains utilize nearly 10 times more white matter. What does that mean? Is the female brain racist? I don't know. Gray matter matters. Gray matters of the brain are localized. They're information and action processing centers, specific splotches in areas of the brain, and they can translate to a kind of tunnel vision when they're doing something. Once they're deeply engaged in a task or a game, they demonstrate not much sensitivity to the things going around them. That describes a lot of guys I know. Also describes a few women. White matter's networking grid, it connects the brain's gray matter to processing centers. You can understand this. You probably know women who think this way. Nothing is bad about this, folks. So no matter how we try to make the genders identical, they remain fundamentally different. But let's talk about the real world. One question that they fail to address is how these extra minutes translate into real world applications. Now, surely college is meant to be prepped for the real world. We can all agree on that, right? So bosses who need to give women 15 minutes more time to complete a task are going to feel a little bit shortchanged. If you ask this, brother, I'm just saying. If that becomes the standard, then won't 15 minutes become counterproductive in leveling the playing field? Doesn't that have to be factored into this, I make only 72 cents to every dollar that a man makes? And the guy goes, yeah, but it takes you 15 minutes more to think. Shut up. See, because administrators want to hire people who can think the fastest, get the job done the quickest. Isn't there a saying out there? Let me think. What is it? What is it about money? Oh, that's right. Time is, somebody help me here. Help me. Is it money? That's what it is. Yeah. Now, I know a lot of women who can outthink me on their worst day. I saw a hand go up. Oh man, the people that come into into my broadcast booth. So anyway, I get it. I don't necessarily even believe it. But here, I'm going to throw you another wrinkle. What about the transgender community? Should men turn women be warned that this could occur? Or do they still have the advantage because they haven't really gotten all the plumbing done and all their naughty bits haven't been changed over? And here's another one. Think about this. Here's another conundrum. What of God, seemingly male? For men to spend less time rather in finding answers to the mysteries of the universe, God must be a male. Or maybe this study and the multitude of others that look to minimize women are just leftist nonsense? That's my calculation, and I computed that faster than women.
The Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome, everybody. Kevin Jackson here to the Kevin Jackson Show. Coming at us fast and furious, James Comey lawyered up. That's right. So did Peter Strzok. I talked to my buddy Carl. Carl sent me a note saying, Kevin, nothing's going to happen. And I'm saying to you, Carl, you got to be losing faith in that position, brother. Come on, man. I know you're going to be calling the show 844-551-8255, and Carl is going to tell me, Kev, you were right. As jihad starts to happen in D.C., Hollywood for ugly people, when the heads start to roll, the very head, or heads, I should say, that Barack Obama put on a platter, that he, the irony that America's first Muslim president, oh yeah, he did, he said that, is about to commit jihad against his own party. Those white folks, we warned them. We said, if you nuzzle up to those Muslims, you got to watch it because they will come to get you. And you know what's happening? The heads are about to roll in the Democrat Party like you've never seen in your life. I don't care if you are 80 years old. Listening to the Kevin Jackson Show, you are about to see a jihad you never believed would happen. You didn't think this kind of destruction could occur in any party whatsoever, and you're about to watch the Democrats go down. It's not hyperbole. I'm not pulling a James Carville. Yeah, but the Democrats going to be in office for 100 years now. We got ourselves a black president. He's so pretty. It's over. Cutting a deal. James Comey lawyered up. I love the palpable fear of the Democrats these days. I love the smell of burnt Democrat smelling like Agent Orange in the morning. Don't make me go Vietnam on you, but I do. From the moment these morons bet on a failed community organizer, they cooked their goose, they screwed the pooch, use whatever metaphor you want. The left bet on the notion, America, that Obama's color and demeanor would carry him through the day. Well, I look good. I make a suit look good. I sound like this here. I sound intelligent. You do know that I went to Harvard. Forget that I went there on an affirmative action scholarship and I won't show you my grades. So he did all these things, but his incompetence cannot stand the light of day. And in fact, Obama hid his incompetence by running the most criminal administration in modern history. And we warned him. Oh, y'all are just a bunch of racists. Y'all don't like that we like our shiny black guy. Well, you know what? They like the shiny black guy over the cliff. Those facts are leaking out, everybody. You know it. You're in tune. You don't live under a rock. And all the leftists who accuse many conservatives of being racist, they called us conspiratorial, and God only knows what else they called us behind our backs, they have apologies to ignore. You don't think they're going to come to you? I'm really sorry, Kev. You called it, brother. I accused you of being jealous of Barack Obama. And, I'm just really sorry, brother. And I hate that I called you a coon-bud Negro and a steppin' fetchit and an Uncle Tom. I'm just really sorry. Said nobody ever. They're not going to apologize. Anyway, I don't even care. I don't need their apology. Do you? I've asked. I'm going to ask you this question. You're listening to the Kevin Jackson Show, kjradio.com. On demand, 24/7. If you miss something and you're like, I heard Kevin say something really funny, and I just can't remember it, you can get it. 24/7, kjradio.com. So here's my question for you. And I know we've been doing these thematic shows, but things are happening so wild and crazy, fast and furious. I feel like Captain Kirk on the Enterprise. Yeah, beam us up, Scotty. Uhura, have you looked to see if there's an indigenous life down there? No, Captain Jackson. That's Baltimore. There is no indigenous life there. Only brain dead leftist morons. So I'm going to ask you, my smart, conservative, pro-American, pro-military, God and apple pie eating, you who know who you are. I don't need to tell you. Who's going to be the first to go? It appears the front runner is James Comey. Yeah. See, he lawyered up. I said it earlier. Daniel Richmond, the law professor who Comey leaked his FBI records to for the media, is now Comey's attorney, apparently, and he won't say when it happened. He will not tell us. Hey, so when did James Comey actually invoke you as his attorney? I can't answer that under fear of, Donald Trump's wrath. A friend of former FBI Director James Comey, who leaked sensitive FBI memos to the New York Times in the wake of Comey's firing in 2017, now claims to be Comey's personal attorney, law professor at Columbia University. He told the Federalist, that's an online group, similar to what we do. But yeah, he told him that over the phone. He's Comey's attorney. So Comey lawyered up. Peter Strzok's lawyered up. I'm telling you, you are about to see some lawyering up going on in D.C. By the way, not exactly the actions of an innocent bureaucrat. Somebody remind me. Maybe one of the producers can tell me this. But weren't we told that Comey was, quote, as straight as they come? I believe that was the term used. And they even said this about Comey. He was once a Republican, and now I think he's made himself an independent because he wants to really be considered as straight as an arrow. But now we've got a bit of an issue here, see? And I'm going to put this out there. We're going to walk through this together because I don't want to get confused, okay? And you guys can help me out here on the Kevin Jackson Show. So we have this little issue of when Comey was running the FBI, there were 50,000 missing texts that came up. Everybody with me so far? Okay, good. Let's move on. Maybe it's a little more sinister than we thought because Jay Sekulow, the president's attorney, built a timeline on this. And the missing texts began on December the 14th of 2016, and they go through May 17th of 2017. Now, what's the difference? What are we talking about here? December the 14th is 2 days after Barack Obama decided to weaponize the FBI, and he sicked them on President Trump. And May 17th is the day that Robert Mueller was appointed as special counsel. Now, I'm no conspiracy theorist, though I have been accused of being one. And I'm going to tell you, I call BS on that overlap. Because it is so aligned with the agenda of Peter Strzok and Lisa Page. I'm going to talk more about this later on. Because I was on Outnumbered, and I actually made a comment about the FBI potentially doing harm to President Trump as one of the possibilities, and the left decided they were going to just go to town on me. Google Kevin Jackson FBI assassination and you'll see what I'm talking about. Well, who's laughing now, lefties? That would be me. Short break. We'll be back in a bit.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177. Or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.
Beth Cook Moranville, author of Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope.
Hope, that wonderful, wonderful 4-letter word that you may feel completely out of. I wrote this book to give you great hope. It's not too late. If fetal position is an all too familiar place for you, I understand. If the next 60 seconds are too long, this book is for you. Wherever you are right now, whether you're dealing with divorce or death or sickness, take hope. You are going to make it through this pain. Don't roll your eyes. I've walked this road and I know it. The best is yet to come.
Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope from author and speaker Beth Cook Moranville, can be found on Amazon.com or Kindle.com. For more information, visit closerthanyourBreath.com or on Facebook at Closer Than Your Breath.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
But this is far worse than Watergate. Explain why you believe so, because you went over to see the memo that we deserve to see.
Well, absolutely, Sean, and thank you so much for the leadership you've provided in encouraging the American people to demand the release of this memo. It is no longer disputable that a pro-Hillary Clinton, anti-Donald Trump bias has intractably infected the FBI, and the United States of America is in jeopardy as a consequence. And, Sean, you laid out a great timeline, but there are even more damaging facts to come. I know that's hard to believe, but trust me, around the corner, we're going to be learning even more about how infected this investigation is, particularly the Mueller probe. Just look at this. In August, you had Strzok and Page saying they were going to be the insurance policy. They were going to save America from a Trump presidency.
How much worse, and how you got to bring us into your world here? How?
Well, Sean, I can say this. Wait till you overlay this 5 months of dark period with the memo that we want to release. These are not isolated incidents that are separated from one another. You have to evaluate these things
together.
together.
Do you believe they're missing? Because I don't buy it. After Lois Lerner, after Hillary Clinton, bleach pit, acid wash, hammering devices, I don't buy it. Debbie Wasserman Schultz smashed hard drive. This is bull.
The American people are never going to believe that 2 days after Barack Obama sicked the intelligence community on President Trump, that all of a sudden these text messages went dark, and then they just happened to reappear and come alive the day after Robert Mueller is selected to be the special counsel. It would be the coincidence of all coincidences.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. It is worse than Watergate. Watergate is nothing compared to what these clowns have done. I'm just telling you, America, conservative America, Republicans, I'm talking about the people who put Republicans, you are about to get treated to a feast. And it's a feast of the Democrats' creation. Comey was interviewed by the special counsel last year. According to the New York Times, a line of questioning from the Office of Special Counsel Robert Mueller focused on memos that Comey wrote that were leaked. Of course, we all know he violated FBI policy. The policies on sensitive handling of these types of things. But Comey is now lawyered up. They told us he's straight as they come. We're now looking at the timeline of all this stuff, and that's what I think it was Gaith. I don't know the guy's name. He's a congressman who was on Hannity. That's what they were talking about. But here's what Jay Sekulow said. He gave you the December 14th to May 17th. They had the Flynn conversation with the senior transitional officials being reported to the press, so their conversations about that missing. They don't have that. BuzzFeed publishes the Steele dossier on January the 11th of 2017. Text messages between those people are missing. Peter Strzok interviews Michael Flynn on January the 24th. Text messages between them are missing. Comey is fired by the President of the United States on May the 9th, 2017. Text messages are missing. Robert Mueller, special counsel appointed on May 17th, text messages missing based on a glitch. Democrats never envisioned being where they are right now, but they had a backup plan. Strzok and Page divulged it in their text. The Democrats, however, had planned on this cover-up working. That in their belief that you, the public, is too stupid to understand what's really happening here. And they just figure, you know what? Hillary's not president, but we still have a stupid public. We got the media on our side. We got it. And so Comey then tweets out, because he's the tip of the spear for the leftists, and they're about to get skewered. And now he's feeling the pressure. So he tweeted this out the other day. Russia threat should unite us, not divide us. It's not about Republicans or Democrats. They're coming after America, which I hope we love equally. And they will be back because we remain that shining city on the hill, and they don't like it. Me, Senate Intelligence Committee 6817. He's trying to woo you with a tweet about what he said back then. Hey, Comey, let me tell you, brother, we aren't going for it. I joked recently that Comey's going to start quoting old Negro spirituals and probably appearing in blackface because he's looking for anything to get him out of this stuff. So I ask you again, I asked this in the first segment, who folds first? Who do you think is going to be the one to go down? I think it's Comey. It could be Peter Strzok. It could be McCabe. It could be Susan Rice. I'm looking at who's the weak link, because here's what I'm going to tell you, folks. The more digging they do, the more rats are coming up going, I need air, man. Y'all didn't tell me I was going to be subterranean for this long. Keeping my head down, I'll ask you a couple of easy questions. Where's Barack Obama? He's been talking about this stuff for quite some time. Where is he? Where's Hillary Clinton? Is she around? I'm looking for the people who they're the backbone of this whole thing. Where are they? Where are those jellyfish? My money is on Comey. He's going to fold. Remember how scared he got when Trump asked him the simple question of loyalty? Like, hey, look, I'm the commander-in-chief. I want people that are on our team that care about America. You understand MAGA, make America great again, America first. I need people that believe in that and believe in that my attempts to do that. And Comey it scared me when he asked me for loyalty. I can't believe it. He's asking for loyalty for America. And what about when Comey admitted that when Loretta Lynch said to him, hey, listen, we don't want to call this an investigation. We don't call this an inquiry or something like that. And Comey was like, well, but it's kind of an investigation. Yeah, but we just don't want to call it that. And so Comey goes, well, yeah, so, I didn't call it that. But I got to admit, it was a little intimidating. I was kind of intimidated by it because she's such a little black woman, but her center of gravity, man, if you looked at her, she's like a freaking spark plug. She's like a, what do they call it? A water hydrant. She's like a water hydrant. I just didn't know if I could take her. He's scared. And let me tell you, Comey is about to become somebody's female dog. And don't think the Clintons haven't taken notice, people. Don't think the Clintons are on top of it. They know everything. They know when you're going to testify. And here's what's interesting. You will die the day before. They'll let it go up to the very end. They're like Michael Corleone, where he'll fly your brother in the day you're going to testify and say, do you know this man? Yeah. Okay. I just want you to understand. It ain't just about getting to you. It's about getting to whoever I choose. That's what we're talking about here, people. So anyway, Comey better turn state's evidence and get into witness protection because he's got a better chance of surviving if he does that. Comey and Peter Strzok both have lawyered up. Attorneys on speed dial. And let me tell you, Barack Obama, the guy who weaponized the FBI, he better do the same thing. Because the public now is getting a glimpse of what really happens behind the scenes of a crooked Obama administration. Obama has lost the veil of protection. And you watch as the fake news media, they sense the inevitability of this outcome, and they're going to turn on the left. And those are the meetings, personally, I want to be a part of. I want to see these guys have to scramble and figure out, what's going to be the big issue for them. What did they not plan for? You watch those forensic file shows, you always know there's something they didn't plan for, and there's lots these guys didn't plan for. Hey, listen, when we come back, we're going to be talking about a transgendered person. I'm going to leave it at that.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. It's the Kevin Jackson Show. kjradio.com. You having fun? I hope you're having fun. We are talking about the craziness of leftism. It approaches you just minute by minute, day by day. I don't know how many things I could talk to you about that showcase the lunacy of leftism. You send me notes all the time. Kevin, did you see this story? Did you see that? You hear about this? Hey, Kevin, check it out, blah, blah, blah. You know, you tell me, whether you're teachers, your firemen, your police officers, the corruption on the left, how these guys promise to protect you. They do none of it. They're so caught up in all these other issues that they find are important because they want to change the way we think. They want to, mold our minds to believe as they do. See, I'm old school. And that doesn't mean that I'm an idiot. It doesn't mean that I'm stuck in a particular way. It just means that I have framed my ideas, the things that I believe are the constructs of my life, and I'm cool with that. You would think the left would be happy about that. Young brother grew up in the country, little old country bumpkin, lost his mom at an early age, dad in prison, but he did okay. He formulated these ideas. He doesn't hurt anybody. He's just out there living a dream, living life in a good way. But you look up and they're like, oh, you're not a Democrat. You didn't vote for Obama. And suddenly you don't think the way other black folks think? We thought we trained you better, boy. And then they get after me. They want to get me back on the plantation. Put me back in chains. Yeah, that dude that made Durbin makes the comment that chain migration is demeaning to blacks. You would think that Durbin would go when Donald Trump says we don't want any chain migration. That means we don't want any slavery. But no, Durbin, that's going to scare black people. We can't say that. Hey, Dick, I don't need your help. Black folks don't need your help. The word chain does not scare me. We wear chains around our neck. I mean, I want you to think about the ridiculous nature of that comment. The chain migration thing is supposed to get... Oh, that could be offensive to black people. Black people might be scared. It's so insulting that I don't understand how the Republicans don't build... I would build an entire media around how insulting the left is on things like this. When Biden talked about putting us back, they're going to change, all right. They're going to put y'all back in chains. And everybody's like, ooh, in the audience. Dumb, silly Negroes agree. They're going to put y'all back in chains. I would have looked up to Biden and said, I'd like to see him try. You think I'm ever going back in chains? You must be out of your ever-loving mind to think I will ever be anybody's slave. It'll never happen in a million years. And it won't happen to kids or grandkids or cousins or anybody else in my family. It's not going to happen. We will never be slaves. Unless we follow you clowns, then maybe. I just want to go back to a time where to what I remember things to be. And it isn't that I'm not ready to make any. I told you guys before, when I was a kid growing up, I didn't understand. I just knew they were gay funny. My grandmother called them funny people, these gay folks. And I knew I wasn't one, and I didn't want to be one. It wasn't that I didn't want to be around him. I had a friend of his name was Ernest, white dude, and Ernest is undoubtedly somebody's boyfriend today. I mean, there's not even a question in my mind. He's somebody's boyfriend. There are people that I suspected were not, they did not think the way I thought about sexuality, but I didn't care. Ernest was one of my buddies. We lived in a little town called Voca, right outside of Brady, the big metropolis of Brady, population 5,557. But we lived in Voca, population 13. And so we rode the bus together. All of us, these kids that lived in Voca. It was probably population 100 or something, but it was little town. And so I saw Ernest every day, and he talked like this, and he was Gomer Pyle, he was Jim Neighbors, like little buddy. he's very, oh my gosh, and I knew something was different about him, but it didn't matter. He was still my friend, and I haven't spoken to Ernest since I left the little town. But if I saw him today, I would with this guy, I would be just as excited to see Ernest as if I had seen him on the bus. Well, I'd be more excited because I saw him on the bus every day. But you get what I'm saying. Don't try to mess with me. So, I don't know. I don't want to say old school in a bad way, because there's nothing wrong with our sensibilities. There's nothing wrong with me saying, I knew there was something funny about Ernest. I didn't want to live his life, but Ernest had his life to live. I didn't care. I think that's the way most people grow up, until you get into this liberal vortex of, you better think like this or we will pound you. So now where are we at? Kevin, where are you headed with all this? The Kevin Jackson Show. By the way, kjradio.com, 844-551-8255. You go to kjradio.com, you can get these segments anytime you want, 24/7, day or night, on demand. Liberals like that. They like to demand stuff. Get it on demand. It's at your call. My show is at your beck and call. Kevin, you said such and such. Had a guy write to me, says, Kevin, you had a dude on your show that was about blankety blank, this, that, and the other. And I went, no, that was not me. And then he wrote me back. It was a St. Louis market. He wrote me back. He goes, oh, sorry, that was Chris Arps. I look nothing like that, brother. Nothing. I'm way too pretty. Oh, but it was radio. Sorry. Anyway, here's what I want to talk about. First transgender playmate. This happened a while back. And when I saw this, I was like, what has America become? Thailand? As Maury might say of Obama, you are the father. Now, for those wondering the impact of leadership on a country, look no further than the policies of Barack Obama. He put America so far forward that transsexuals no longer knew what bathroom to use. They've been using the bathroom for decades, for centuries, coming up to the point of Barack Obama, and he moved them forward to the point of, I don't know, which one do we use? Maybe we need our own. Look, I'm all for equality, but it shouldn't be based on sexuality. So when Playboy succumbed to this flavor of progressivism, I just said to myself, where are we? Where are we as a country? This story was in Breitbart. Playboy magazine announced its November issue will feature magazine's first transgender playmate, French model Inez Rowe. And here's what Inez, the model, said. It's how I celebrated my coming out, actually. I took that chance, and then I signed with an agency. And so my first thought when I was thinking about, here's a transsexual that's going to be on Playboy, because quite frankly, I don't really there's got to be a magazine for transsexuals where they go, tranny out or whatever, and they go, hey, here we are, boom, boom, boom. And for the record, probably gorgeous. I've watched Maury, those shows where you got to pick, is it a man or is it a woman? And I in full disclosure, I get it wrong a lot. I know. And I'm so do you. Don't even front out there. If you've ever watched those shows, if you're a dude, you are not 100%. I don't know a guy on the planet. You'd have a better chance picking the winner of the Final Four next year, right now, or, this coming up in March Madness, than you would getting even over 80% on Maury. I'm telling you, you can't tell. These people are just like, what? What can I get a what? But here's what I was thinking. Can't men have anything, doggone it? We had Playboy as a kid growing up, the centerfold, Playmate of the Month was always some hot girl and catering to us. Why is it that the transsexual community can't get its own call it play tea instead of Playboy, play tea. Get your own magazine, and you guys, go do your thing. I do not want, and I think that, and people out there listening, okay, what, you don't want to appreciate the beauty of a transsexual? That's not what I said. Not at all. I told you, on Maury, I'm often fooled. They're beautiful, but they're boys. They're boys. And I can appreciate, it's like looking at a handsome guy. One of my best friends is one of the most handsome guys on the planet. Boy, Kirby's a good looking guy, but I've never wanted to see him as a centerfold. So what's the deal? Oh man. So Hugh Hefner dies. The very next month, what do they do? Playboy goes, well, it's an honor to Hugh Hefner. The dude who had nothing but beautiful starlets in Playboy Mansion. We're going to put a transsexual on the cover of Playboy. Woo-hoo-hoo. And again, I'm not trying to be a prude. I'm just saying there's got to be a magazine for that. It's like the left say we got to ruin every tradition. And for the record, I haven't looked at a Playboy centerfold in ages. And I'm at a point where I wouldn't even encourage kids to do it. Okay? But they probably do. I mean, you're going to eventually have to confront sexuality. But I'm saying, why can't there just be something that, and if you're going to have it, it should be, okay, here's a coming of age thing for young boys who know they're boys. Where's that gone? Yikes.
Kevin Jackson on the Black Sphere Radio Network.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177. Or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.
So, Clint Watts, let's bring you in here and let's try to put some of this together. I've been writing down notes because there's so much going on here, and there's so many things that are outside the norms for a president and his allies who are now at war with the FBI. You have, of course, the new news that Donald Trump goes up to the acting FBI director and says, "How did you vote?" Extraordinarily inappropriate. It does violence to constitutional norms and the rule of law. He asked Comey, remember, for the loyalty. He then asked Comey to drop the investigation of his national security advisor after he admits that he knows that his national security advisor committed a crime by lying to the FBI. Then, of course, he fired Comey. And then if you look at what happened yesterday, and I really want you to talk about this, this is the most troubling thing. The Republicans now are so desperate because they see that Donald Trump is going to have to go and actually tell the truth, try to tell the truth for once, or fall into what his associates call the perjury trap, which means they know that Donald Trump's a liar. They brought up this, the Republicans are talking about this secret society inside the FBI. They sound like crackpots, that Bill Buckley kicked out of the conservative movement back in the early 1960s. Like, the Illuminati, the Freemasons, Harry Potter and Ron Weasley, all because of an FBI agent who sent text messages to a friend. And we have the Wall Street Journal this morning, that same FBI agent was hesitant to join Robert Mueller's formed team because, quote, "My gut sense is there's nothing there." And yet there is a declared, Lou Dobbs said it, a declared war from the right on the FBI and the Justice Department.
Where do I start? Welcome, everybody. Kevin Jackson. It's the Kevin Jackson Show. Where do I start? Scarborough doesn't even realize that the FBI agent he's reading of Peter Strzok not wanting to join the Mueller's team, is he's saying there's nothing there. It's fake. There is no conspiracy. There is no collusion, but the rest of it. I mean, where do you start with this guy? He's saying, oh, it's no big deal that these guys are exchanging these email messages that, in effect, pretty much say, I mean, they don't pretty much, they say it. We love Hillary Clinton. We hate Donald Trump. We must do everything we can to make sure Hillary Clinton gets elected. And then they did. It just didn't work. And then we got to do everything we can to keep Donald Trump from getting elected. And then it's a conspiracy if you bring anything up. Now, I want to talk about this conspiracy because I said this earlier, and I'm going to say it again. The conspiracy of all of this is where the left always tries to make it look like we're a bunch of crackpots. Conspiracy nuts. We're making this stuff up. We're fabricating the idea that the left loved Hillary Clinton, did everything they could to get her elected, hate Donald Trump, did everything they could not to get him elected, and when he did get elected, against all odds, they then plotted his demise. And we don't even know what that demise is. I got asked that question. I wish we had the clip. Kurt found it. I didn't get it. Did we get it for the show? No? Dadgummit, this is when I really want to play it. But I made a comment that in order to investigate these texts correctly, you have to look at what are the possibilities. So if I say something like, man, I will get that guy at all cost, and you just read that text, you go, I wonder what Kevin means by that. If he doesn't like the guy, what's he saying? And no, it's clear he doesn't like him, but we got to get him at all cost. Doesn't matter what it takes. We got to get this guy. So you as just a normal human being, you should have a range of things that come to mind. You should say, well, he could just be talking. It could be meaningless chit-chat. Like, man, if that guy went in front of me, I don't know what I'd do to him. Because you could go, he might, if he's a pansy leftist like most of them are, he'll do nothing. But if it's somebody who knows what they're doing and really is vindictive, he might kill him. What are the circumstances? Did he molest the guy's daughter? Did he beat up the guy's wife or his daughter or his kid or something? There are many things that are extenuating circumstances. Before you can answer that question, you have to know. I'm one of these people that I'm going to question everything. So when I got asked, Kevin, and I think it was Harris Faulkner that asked me on Outnumbered, Kevin, what do you think about these texts? What do you think he meant? And I said, well, look, I'm not one to get inside of anybody's head, but here's the way you have to look at this. Now, I'm talking as an engineer, as a logical person. You can look at this as completely dismiss it, which would be crazy, or are they really interested in doing the ultimate thing to the president? And I didn't even say assassination. I said, do they want to do him harm? Who knows? Wait. And so Harris comes back. I saw the clip earlier because Kurt got it. And she says, Kevin, I just want to be clear, because a producer probably said, make sure you get in front of this with Kevin. He's not saying that the FBI is trying to assassinate Donald Trump. So she says, Kevin, surely you're not implying, I just want to be clear, give you away. You're not implying that the FBI is trying to do anything. I said, no, what I'm implying is if you're going to look at this, you have to look at it across the board. You can't, is that a possible, I mean, I didn't even say this, but I'll say it on the radio so people can understand I'm being very clear. Is it a possibility? Certainly. In as much as it's a possibility that they meant to do absolutely nothing. And it's something in between. And I said that. And they caught more grief. I got a call, believe it or not, I got a call from corporate FBI. Kevin, we can't really say those kind of things. We don't really want people believing, that this is that and the other. And I was like, believing what? Believing that there's a possibility that there are people in government who would really want to do harm to Donald Trump? And trust me, there are. And so Marie Harf was like, well, there are no credible sources. And I was like, well, that's not necessarily true. But they got cut off at that point. So guess what? We got Scarborough saying it's a conspiracy theory. All these things that are happening, conspiracy. The FBI's not after Donald Trump. It just happens that they can't locate 50,000 emails. Oh, wait a minute. The dog ate my homework. Then they come back later and they go, well, there's a possibility that it happened to more than just Strzok and his girlfriend. As if that's going to give you more hope. Like, oh, well, if it's going to happen to more than them, then there you go. I mean, I'm just saying, this is just, it's so unbelievable that to hear a Scarborough or any of these other pundits talk, look, guys, I know it frustrates you. Let them talk. They are talking themselves into a circle. Sean Davis, one of the tweets that I read about this, said, "This memo I've not read is obviously false and dangerous, and can you believe they won't let senators read it? And also, nobody should be allowed to read it. Oh, and also this dossier from a foreign spy put together by DNC contractors working for shady Russians proves Donald Trump is a traitor." Now, Sean's obviously being very snarky to the left because you've got senators who've not read this false and dangerous document, but they've put all their information, their marbles, if you will, into the false and dangerous fake dossier, which has done nothing to hurt Donald Trump and has done what? Backfired on the senators, or backfired on the Democrats. Good tweet, Sean. What else we got? I love this one. In just one day, thousands more FBI phone texts revealed to have been lost to a glitch. Comey and Strzok lawyered up. Democrats release a counter memo. Sleazy Adam Schiff office flooded with not a bot calls. They actually tried to get us to believe that it was Russian bots that created the release the memo cacophony that all of you probably were a part of if you're on Twitter. Hashtag release the memo. They tried to get us to believe that they were going after Twitter and Facebook to get them to understand why there was this big call to release the memo. And it had to be a Russian attack. That is how much dyed in these people remain on this nonsense Russian story. Here's one from James Brower. It says, so seems that Comey, McCabe, and Rosenstein are all in the 4-page memo. This now proves why Democrats and leftists are losing their minds. It also proves why they keep attaching Russia to it. Gonna be quite interesting to see. You're exactly right, James Brower, at jbro_1776, if you want to reach out to him. Here's a tweet I like as well. Peter J. Hasson, Hasson, at Peter J. Hasson. The most underrated fact about the drama surrounding the FBI agents' text messages is that they were discovered in an Inspector General investigation launched at the behest of Democrats in Congress who thought the FBI was biased against Clinton. Now, you want to talk about a tangled web they weaved.